Thank you so much for joining this presentation today. I wish we could meet in person these times. Today I'm representing the work of a research team. I'm coming from two universities, Graz University of Technology and the University of Applied Sciences in Vorarlberg, representing, also my name is Johanna Birk and I'm representing Enrique Loria, Said Safikani, Andreas Künz and Sabrina Rossmann. We were interested to looking deeper at the state of the art in the literature through a literature survey to identify interesting use cases, application fields, and technologies combining digital twins with virtual reality. So, just to quickly summarize our main research questions in this field, and I just big spoiler ahead, 10 minutes will not be able to cover all the details, so please read the paper if you're interested in. But the main research questions we focus on, we want to find a little bit, is this like a relevant research field these days? Are there many publications? Is the number of publication growing? What are the main application fields? What are the main use cases combining VR and digital twins? What technologies are used, and especially what are potential issues and problems and future roadmaps we could be interested in. The methodology we use is a literature review following the PRISM guidelines. So we focused on the three following libraries: ACM, Scopus, and IEEE Explorer, because ACM and IEEE Explorer is one of the venues for relevant research in the field of VR, conferences such as IEEE VR, VRSD, ISMAR, and Scopus does also include quite a lot of research in this field, but also in the field of digital twins. So that's why we focused on those three main libraries. And we only looked at English papers, peer-reviewed papers, and used a search term combining virtual reality and different versions of digital twins. What you can see on this slide is that in the beginning we found altogether about 515 records, but after removing duplicates, after screening them, reading abstracts, reading the whole paper, in the end we found only 30 studies which were relevant based on our evaluation criteria. And already looking a little bit at the first research idea, we can also see that most of those papers were written between 2008 and 2021. This is of course also because the term digital twin is relatively new. There could be, this is already one of the main limitations of this work, a lot of other works in the past describing this topic, but the wording digital twin might not have been used explicitly in this paper, but the technology might be pretty much the same. And what you can see that it is a interesting field, but yeah, there is quite a lot of room of improvement for presenting more studies in this field in the future. In terms of application fields, this might be not super surprising, but the most papers were written in the field of Industry 4.0. This is the main application fields, a lot of interesting use cases describing like for factories, but also combining eventually the work of robotics, of engineering, but also training, education. I think those are all the fields where we sort of do expect digital twins. We present the examples in the paper. Please read the paper for details on that. What might be surprising, however, are fields like astronomy. So quite interesting. And one small example here would be a digital twin of an ice cream machine that you can learn how to interact with this ice cream machine. So this is something which is quite fun to look at. Of course, health can be an interesting example, also in the field of surgeries. Aerospace, by the way, is one really interesting topic, not only for digital twins, but especially for virtual reality. So especially in the field of aerospace, there has been already many years of experience in the development of digital twinish environments, even though they were not called that way, but especially also in the field of virtual reality. So, what use cases were described? So in terms of use cases, I mean, there's a little bit of a overlap. What is the application field, but what is the use case? But we were excited and to identify use cases to explore which explore this topic. And before I start describing the use cases, I want to quickly summarize also the advantages described by the authors when using virtual reality in combination with digital twins. And these were especially things like it's low cost, it supports advanced visualization methods, and especially this immersive 3D environment. It allows natural and direct interactions with the twins. It allows advanced controlling and data collection methods. It's very portable. It allows remote usage. It's very scalable, and it also allows augmented use. So, for instance, that you have additional information about the twin, and of course, it can be real time. The use cases described would be, for instance, for evaluation and user studies. So digital twins can provide a very safe environment to assess behaviors and processes. But of course, remote operation, many use cases of remote operations have been described, because especially through this intuitive interface, it's often nicer than looking at the 2D screen and interacting with the machine in a not super natural way, but rather through natural and intuitive controls. Remote collaboration and guidance. So many traditional digital collaboration tools split the person space and the task space. The person space would be this verbal, non-verbal cues, and the task space, the space where they work together. And here in a virtual reality environment, you can really create something which is very fast and productive instead. And it allows a really lovely place for co-located collaboration and communication. As an education and training tool, I don't think we need to go deeper into that. Virtual reality has been always quite successful as an education tool. And of course, if you work with digital twins, you can really learn how to work with this machine, for instance, in a very interesting environment. So digital twins in VR to support understanding and decisions. So for instance, if one example would describe how they plan this shop floor layout and create a collaborative system for decision makers to understand the situation better. And what I found quite interesting, that it can also used as a corner case for authoring and design, because you have this spatial and three-dimensional interaction in VR, and it's a very relevant tool to display digital twin environments and author and configure them. In terms of technologies and interactions forms, in the papers we used and analyzed, most of the authors described the use of the HTC Vive environment, many also the Oculus Rift. Only a few, however, the Oculus Quest and then mobile VR. This could be certainly because it's a relatively new technology, the Oculus Quest, for instance, and mobile VR probably does not come with the capabilities to support the visualizations of digital twins in VR. Just one idea. And yeah, as a last point, I would love to talk about the challenges and issues, because this also leads to the roadmap. And the main challenges identified by the authors of those papers were cyber sickness, the acceptance of the technology, that there were a lot of missing evaluations, and especially evaluation techniques are missing, network challenges and communication traffic, the security issue, and that it's the hardware to actually access those machines is often missing to make a natural and intuitive interaction possible. To sum it up, we talked about the limitations, especially the missing limitation of the missing definition of the digital twin early on. Potential future roads could be, especially in the fields of exploring new user domains, providing new user studies, working on the field of network communication improvement. What I find super interesting is this natural interaction between the systems, work with new devices, and explore more data analytics options. So we looked at 30 papers, identified various fields, the advantages, use cases, and the challenges. And to sum it up, it's a very important field, and I think there's so much more to do in this field. We're super excited to be part of this research. And if you do have any questions, please just write us an email. Thank you so much for attending this presentation.